Welcome, everyone. We're going to allow a few minutes for everyone to come in. So while we are waiting, please take the time to get used to the whole webinar ecosystem. We have the Q&A, and it's going to be available for the whole session. Okay, then seeing that the number of attendees has finally stabilized, I think it's the right moment to start. Welcome, everyone. This is a part of the student sharing series. My name is Andrea Cuello. I'm a Mexican student in the current intake of the NUS MBA, and I'm going to be your moderator for tonight. With me, I have the representatives, the student leaders chosen by the members of our whole cohort, but I'll take the time to share that with you in a while. You know, this time we are not looking to go into all of the academic specifications of the NUS MBA. We are trying to look what happens outside of the classroom. When we are choosing an MBA, it's not only about the academics, the specializations we want, the classes we want, the teachers we want. There's also the interest that we have and how we are going to share them with the rest of these students. And this has been translated into the whole NUS MBA club ecosystem. There's so many clubs to join in, so many events organized by these student leaders. But the problem has been, you know, the challenges of the current situation. So before going into the specifics, I'm going to share with you a small video on how we have been tackling these challenges.
As you probably know, we aim to offer the most transformational MBA experience in our competitive set and help you to become the best you can be in your chosen field of influence. The MBA Club ecosystem is instrumental to this, and it is the core delivery mechanism for your transformation. Our objective really is to channel as much as possible of the experiential learning for the club ecosystem. The objectives are really to build your skills, build your industry knowledge, your industry network, understand what really sort of shapes the industry, test drive to confirm what you truly can be passionate about. Build your network, build your LinkedIn, and at the end of your MBA, you won't even need career services anymore. The MBA Club ecosystem has become your professional home. Enjoy the journey, and I so look forward to meeting you in person very soon.
Okay, then. Haven't gone into it. I'm gonna represent myself. My name is Andrea. I'm a really avid club member of more than 5 clubs. So I think I get enough experience to talk about the great work that these people joining me today have done. I'm a food engineer by my major, but after that, I decided to go into corporate governance consultancy in Deloitte. But apart from that, apart from what my job says, I'm really world traveler, and it's also the great excuse to try the different foods all around the world. So joining me are these magnificent group of panelists. We have Avik, the president of the Healthcare Club. We have Mossam, the president of the Consulting Club. And we have Tao, the vice president of the Energy Club. So I'm gonna allow each of them to one by one present themselves so we can just go into it.
Right, so maybe I'll go first. Andrea, thank you so much for the very warm introduction. So hi, everyone. Thank you for joining us. Good evening. So I'm Avik. I was the president of Healthcare Club. Prior to joining MBA, I was the APAC patient access lead at IQVIA, based out of Singapore, focusing mainly on life science, med tech sectors. And my company, IQVIA, was a consulting company in the healthcare life sciences space. Besides this, I'm really personally passionate about social impact, and I have really been finding different ways and means of actually, making some tangible impact in the society, and which has led me to take part in a lot of different initiatives. And besides that, I'm also an amateur writer. So maybe I'll pass on to Mosam.
Thank you, Avik. A warm welcome, everyone. We're so happy to have you all here today. I am the president of the Consulting Club. Prior to my MBA, I worked as a senior consultant with PwC India. I'm also very, very interested in venture capital, and that's something that I'm exploring during my MBA here in Singapore. Outside of my career interests, I'm a certified diver. I will literally find any opportunity to travel to one of the blue ocean places and dive. I'm also an aspiring dog mom, and I hope to at least have 5 dogs someday. That's about me. I'll pass it on to Tao.
Thank you, Mosam. So welcome everyone. So my name is Tao. I'm from Thailand. I am the vice president of the Energy Club. So prior to the MBA, I used to work in NG Asia Pacific, which is the multinational energy company. I focus in the electric vehicles and also renewable energy power plant. That's why I choose to join the Energy Club during my MBA. And I used to work in the construction company, which is part of the family business. And currently I'm interning in the energy company also as a BD and strategy. And apart from the MBA experience, I am the foodie person, and also sometimes I cook the Thai food for my friends also. So again, yeah, thank you everyone for joining us today. So I will hand over back to Andrea.
Thank you so much, guys. So before we actually go into the descriptions and all the marvelous things that these people have been doing around the year, I would like to open it to the audience. If you see in the middle, down at the bottom of your screen, you can see the Q&A button. Along the whole session, please feel free to post all of your questions oriented to the whole club ecosystem and everything we can help you with. So in the future minutes, we can also go into all of these questions and ask our panelists so they can share their answers. Going forward, just a kind reminder on how this ecosystem really works. You see, the NUS MBA Students Council is the main student leadership body, and this whole group of leaders is chosen by all the members of the cohort. You see, all of the ones you see right now, they are the ones that were chosen based on their great proposals, great vision that they had for the club, and convincing people that that was actually the vision that we wanted as a group. So this student council is comprised of 5 executive committee members. They are the president, the vice president, the academic liaison, communication liaison, and the part-time liaison. We do consider part-timers whole structure. And apart from that, we have 7 professional clubs based in, as the name says, the professional interests that all the students have. There are the consulting club, the energy club, the entrepreneurship club, the finance club, healthcare club, marketing club, and technology club. Some of them are bigger than others, and some of them are more niche, but we're going to go into the actual niche part. So going to the general interest part. Into the general interest clubs, there's the Diversity and Inclusion Club, the Sustainability, Ethics and Impact Club, Community, Social and Cultural Club, Sports and Wellness, and Sandbox Club. The objective of these ones are, they didn't just occur for any reason. There were people interested into it, so people started joining together to try to tackle all of these different topics. So for example, the Sandbox Club is the most recent one, and it was because people wanted to take that space to share their own stories. But don't worry, because of the pandemic, there hasn't been a low quantity of events. We have had several events made by all of the clubs, and all of them have occurred either in hybrid situations, allowing some people to be on site or fully online. However, many people have been really supportive in helping organizing each of it. So going into the actual functions and priorities of each of the club, we're going to start with the healthcare club with a big. And as I mentioned, please do go into Q&A if you have any questions that have arisen along this whole experience. Thank you. To you, Abik.
Thanks, Andrea. If you go to the next slide. Yeah. So I think you introduced the club ecosystem quite nicely, and I think basically the crux of it you've already covered. As part of the healthcare club, the main thing that we tried to do during our time as club leaders is focus on 6 key things: events, networking, case competitions, insights and learning, careers, and building an ecosystem. So basically under events, like your general events where you can learn, you can network with people from the industry, you can network with the alumni, etc. In terms of networking, we actually collaborated with several of the other professional clubs, such as finance club, etc. And in terms of case competitions, of course, one of the main things that we were looking for was what case competitions are out there that could benefit our club members, that our club members would be interested to take part in. One thing that we really pioneered during our time was insights and learning, because we identified that a lot of people from our cohort might be interested to explore the healthcare club, but they might not necessarily be from a healthcare background. So which is why we started off this thing called the Insights, Healthcare Insight series, where we would identify white papers from leading consulting companies on topics, pertinent topics in life science, medtech, healthcare, etc., and then share it with our cohort, especially our members. And of course, we work very closely with the BIS Careers Office to sort of like ensure that our members were positioned, to the right employers for the right kind of roles as well. And last but not the least, one thing that wraps it all up, and which is in line with something that was mentioned in the video by Prof. Yokin as well, was the ecosystem, which we tried very hard to create, or at least take a step towards it, to weave everything together and ensure that what we are doing not just benefits our current cohort, but goes beyond and connects the dot between several generations, new and past. So this is in a nutshell what we've tried to do as a healthcare club. And I would also like to share some of the shots from, or rather some of the examples of the events that we did, which is one of the key features of any club ecosystem. So we did around 8 to 9 events during our time, including some events we did as part of STTC. And we collaborated with a lot of different, other professional clubs as well, especially the one on private equity, where we collaborated with Finance Club to bring healthcare private equity expert on board to actually speak and share with the rest of the class. So yeah, so this is in a nutshell the different kinds of events. So as you can see, the topics actually range from finance to consulting to tech. It's quite diverse. And this is, I would say, something that a niche club offers, right? Because it's an industry focus. So you literally have applications across various different functions. So I'll just leave it at that. I'm conscious of the time, and I'll pass it back to Andrea.
Thank you so much. We will now pass on to Tao, who's going to present us a little bit of the other one of the niche clubs, the Energy Club.
Yeah, so that's why today the session is very niche, because we have two niche clubs together today. Yeah. So as you can see, like from the first slide, it can show a little bit of how we apply the knowledge that we study during the MBA also. Like vision, mission statement is the first thing that we learn during the corporate strategy class, and also we apply the thing that we learn in our club ecosystem also. So for us, for the vision is to be the interaction center for the energy savvy people among NUS MBA. So actually, like before I joined the NUS MBA, I didn't think that there are so many people that who are interested in the niche industry like energy or healthcare also. But again, NUS MBA provide like the center for the people who have the mutual interest to join and also build the ecosystem. And also among the club leaders, we try to increase the interest in an energy sphere among the cohort, and also organize all the activities to update the trends in a rapidly evolving energy industry. And also the thing that most of people are interested in is about the networking also. So we try to connect the alumni and corporate network to influence MBA students to consider to take this career also after the MBA. So for the next slide. So this is like the capture of the event that we have also during in the past months. So because of the pandemic, we have we call it hybrid platform that we invite the speakers to join us online, and also we can share the link to all the participants to join online. So regardless of anywhere you are right now, so you can join our event. But also for some event that if the restriction of the Singapore and also the condition is allow us to do in person, we still have some event that connect everyone in the room and also allow the networking event also. And because we are quite a niche industry, so we try also to collaborate with other clubs. So on the right hand side, we have the event with the finance club to talk about the infrastructure financings also. This is the very interesting event, and also we have a lot of the positive feedback from the participants. So in overall, like in the vision mission and also in the every event platform, we try to adapt ourselves to cater to the needs of our cohort, and also to build the strong network among the student, alumni, and also corporate network to give the best experience for the energy savvy people. And that's like overall the summary of my club. So I will hand over to Mosam later to talk about the consulting club.
Thank you, Tao. So about the NUS MBA Consulting Club, I probably wouldn't say it's the biggest, but it is one of the biggest clubs in the NUS MBA club ecosystem. During my tenure as the club president, we had over 130 members out of a 240 people cohort. The main aim of the club is to support all aspiring consultants in their journey towards consulting and strategy. Whether you are someone who comes with an experience in consulting, or you're completely new, whether you're a part-timer or full-timer, or whether you're looking at switching gears in terms of the industry focus, we've tried and catered to each of these aspects and to sort of help each of our members achieve their dreams in consulting. We've organized a speaker series, which talk about everything from how you can use your MBA as a platform to get into consulting, to how you can make a transition from an industry role to consulting. We've had networking events. This has been one of our most popular events, and we were fortunate enough to actually have this event in person. We had about 8 industry leaders from various consulting firms come down to our campus. We had about 40 students who were put in a room, and they were free to network with these industry leaders for about 2.5 hours. We've also had workshops. These are skill building workshops, from case cracking to creating powerful presentations and more. We also do regular peer-to-peer case cracking, and we're continuously sort of working on improving and enabling more and more students to get into consulting. Next slide, please. Just a little bit about the interaction we've had in the past 8 months. This was, let me remind you, right in the middle of the pandemic, but we've been lucky enough to have hybrid as well as in-person and fully online events. We've had about 350 attendees, 9 events, in 18 industry leaders and 15 corporate partners, ranging from McKinsey to Amazon Web Services, BCG, Accenture, EY, PwC, Oliver Wyman, and more. So that's about the consulting. And I'll be happy to any questions you guys have in the section.
Thank you
Over
so
to you,
much,
Andrea.
Martha. So thank you all for presenting all of the wonderful things you have done within the clubs. But now we want to open up to all of the questions that both we understood that were most of our concerns. We were prospective students. We wanted to know more about them. And also the questions that the different attendees are sharing in the Q&A section. So starting with a big, how has being a student leader helped you professionally?
So thanks for the question, Andrea. So I think I would say that first and foremost, it has definitely helped me expand my network, which I would think would be, pretty much obvious, because as a student leader, your role is to engage the community in the industry and try to bring them on board as speakers for your events. And not just events, but even for any initiatives that you have as a club. I think one of the main objectives is to be the bridge between the cohort and the industry. So in that sense, I would say that, it's definitely, helped me expand my network personally at a personal level. But even beyond that, I would say that it definitely helped me sort of put my money where my mouth is. Like, I mean, in the sense that it helped me sort of like, make good on my initial vision and commitment to the club, and see to it that, it was thoroughly aligned to all the stakeholders who are involved, mainly, the club members, other club presidents, and also, the MBA ecosystem as well, and see to it that it's executed as well as it was thought out. So that end-to-end sort of like, from the conceptualization to the execution, I think that I feel like I've gained that sort of experience from, my tenure. And at a personal level, which I think it's still kind of relevant in a professional setting, I would say, is that it helped me become a better listener, because I used to be, like a little bit talkative in the past, and, but as a club leader, like, I think one of the things that you, get to learn is you get to sort of like listen to the various different voices, and you try to, see what's best for your stakeholders who you are serving. So yeah, so I would say these were these are how I was, helped by being the club leader of Healthcare Club.
Thank you so much, Vicky. It's really interesting to see how, apart from just getting that small line in your CV of student leader, there's even more to learn apart from it. But there are some other benefits of being part of the club ecosystem, and not only as student leaders, but also as the club members. For example, I I participated in the events of many clubs, and you get to learn so many people and get to learn so many topics, and even topics that you didn't even know existed. And most of them come from these synergies that occur between different clubs. But Mosam, how can a club member really benefit from being part of the club ecosystem?
So I think there are obviously, aside from the fact that you are a part of a community that is always there by your side, not just your leaders, but also fellow students. I've taken the opportunity of being a part of other clubs, for instance, tech club, as well as finance club. When I wanted to know something about private, equity or venture capital, I would reach out to Safira, who is from that background. And so on. So that's one, right? You're a part of like a group which is like-minded, geared towards the same direction, who has maybe experience in fields that you don't, and that's very helpful. The second is the workshops that we do. So each of our clubs have had various technical skill as well as soft skill workshops, in which I know personally I've benefited from. I've learned Tableau for the first time in a tech club workshop. I've learned powerful presentations in a consulting club workshop. I've learned energy and consulting based case cracking in a collab that we did with the Energy Club, and so on. Then there's networking, not just the formal networking events that we have, but when we get speakers on board to talk at our events, we leave that floor open at the end of events for the club members to actually interact with these speakers, reach out to them on LinkedIn. These form long-term relationships. So many of us have come from outside of Singapore. We may or may not know anyone here in the professional industry. This opens up the venue for you to actually build your network in a more comfortable, safe space. So that was one of my key takeaways. And I think the last part is confidence. So a lot of our club members who are not even student leaders have been moderators for our events, have helped us in sourcing professionals from the industries, have engaged with us on different avenues and spaces. For instance, you've been a moderator for one of our events. So I think that helps you kind of, go on a stage, lose those inhibitions, become a little more extrovert, more confident. And I think all of that together is what each one of us are looking for, getting out of our MBAs. So I think the club ecosystem plays a very, very important role from this context.
Yeah, like great part of the importance of it is the networking that you do inside of the cohort and outside of the cohort. But for example, if Tao, in your personal experience as a student leader, how has a particular club event improved your networking or gotten you to know about a particular topic?
Yeah, so I think like Avik mentioned in the earlier that as a club leader, because we have to arrange the event and also we have to expand our network to connect with many people in the industry and bring in those network for our cohort. So I think that's like the first level, that how we can like expand our network to talk to the many people and also to get familiar in the sub sector or sub industry that we are not familiar and learn from it. And I can give like one more example about how could club event challenge my perspective also. So in the first event of the Energy Club in our batch, we invited the ex KPMG director and also the oil journalist who gave the perspective about the oil price and also the oil market in the world right now. And also like it's very I would say it's very challenging myself because I came from the renewable energy background. So it's mean that from my perspective I thought that renewable is gonna be like the star and everything, but oil is just an old thing and it's not related anymore. But actually from those speakers, they gave me the fresh perspective about the oil price, about the the oil market in like 10 years or 20 years. And I learned a lot. And also after discuss with the participant in that event, many people have changed that perspective also. So that's how I think the club event and everything challenged myself and also the club participants.
Yeah, talking about challenges. Being a student leader, I suppose, is a great challenge by itself. I wasn't a leader and still I have to juggle around all of the academic issues and club activities to just make sure that I was there in the event. But for each event, there's so many preparation behind it and so many follow-up to do so. So Abik, what motivated you to become a student leader? What motivated you to take up this challenge?
So for me, like I realized that I had a sort of idea in mind that I thought would be a good thing for our cohort, as well as our program as a whole. And that I realized after speaking to Joan from our MBA office, who was super supportive. I realized that it kind of aligned with her vision, and Prof. Yokin as well, his vision. And I realized there's something there. And throughout the period when we started interacting with our batchmates, like once we were all introduced together, once we started collaborating, I realized that having an ecosystem, a club ecosystem that sort of supports every need and connects, the cohort with alumni, prospective students, industry people, that would really be of use and benefit to them. So, once I realized that, and that sort of aligned with my original sort of vision as well, which made me actually want to run for the club president. And of course, I could not have done this without, my vice president, who's Purnima, and of course, fellow club leaders, and help from yourself and so many other, people from our cohort. It would have been impossible. So I think, to your earlier point about everything being so difficult and so many bits and moving pieces, I think really the whole support system being there helps it all be more smooth from the outside. So the other thing that I personally wanted as well for the club during our time was to actually build a legacy. Because I mean, yes, as a club leader, we are elected by our cohort. And I mean, of course, we would want to meet their short-term needs as well, right? But from the long-term perspective, when the cohort graduates and goes out into the world, and then, suddenly they need something from someone, or, somewhere, who do they reach out to, right? So in order to build that connection, in order to ensure that there's something that's lasting for future generations, and also something that connects back to what we had in the past, what our seniors left down to us, I think building a legacy was really important to me. So these were some of my motivations to run for the club president. Yeah.
Yeah, I do believe you're going to be remembered for a while. You've made some amazing things with the healthcare club. But talking about these short-term points, there is this short-term challenge around the COVID-19 situation. This question is actually for most, and not only from the questions we have drafted before, there's people online asking on how efficient it is to actually hold these kind of events with the whole situation going on. So Mohsen, what were the challenges involved in organizing these club activities?
So I think to start with, we were actually one of the few lucky MBAs across the world that actually got to start our MBA in person, even in the middle of the pandemic. We all flew to Singapore. The school made that happen for us. And we were very fortunate for at least most part of it. We were allowed to have events in person. What we did try to do, and what we realized, actually, it was a great learning from the whole pandemic situation. I'll call it the upside to this whole ordeal. And that's the fact that we realized that when we do online events, we can actually accommodate more people. So what we, as club leaders, always try to do was, we, depending on the kind of event that it was, if it was a closed group, smaller event, we would always have it in person to keep that personal touch. If it was a bigger event, a workshop, something that could be catered to a mass crowd, we would do it online or hybrid. Well, there were challenges to both. Sometimes I would say the online events were easier because it didn't involve logistics, carrying our banners. I mean, we've done all of that. We've picked up big banners and moved them around school to sort of taking everyone's temperature and so on. Sometimes in-person events were better because I would see those 40 people having a very good time, actually learning something out of those 2 hours that they've spent with the consulting club, and seeing that in person was a different feeling. But what we realized was that this in itself was one of the learnings I took from the MBAs, to actually accept whatever is thrown at you. We've had times where we've planned in-person events that have had to be moved online because the social distancing measures in Singapore have changed. Again, like Avik mentioned, the fact that we had a very supportive ecosystem where it wasn't just obviously the leaders, even the executive committee, but also our club members. My participants have helped me pick up, some of the load of these events to kind of move it around from physical to online or the other way around. So while it's been challenging, it's been more learning than challenging. It's been more it's bigger realizations have come out of this situation than I would say challenges. And I think now we're here, and I wouldn't sort of trade it for anything in the world. I would still want to do both online and in-person events.
Yeah, I suppose it's been a great challenge for all of you. But Tao, out of all of them, what has been the greatest challenge that you have faced as a student leader, and how did you deal with it?
So I think I would say there are many levels of the challenges also. So I think for the personal level, yes, I think like you mentioned in the early that we have to balance between our academic workload and also the club workload, because I think when we run for the president and vice president, we already committed to our cohort already that we would deliver as you guys expect also. So I think that's another level of challenges that because I think each club have like many members, so it means that we have to do the survey to gauge the interest of our cohort also, that what kind of activities and also event that they are looking for. And after we know the interest, then we have to find the resources, I mean the speakers, the panelists and everything, and blend everything together to deliver the event that they expect. I think that's also another challenge, even though I think it's quite tough during the beginning, right, that we have to balance everything. But I think overall it's a very good experience for me also.
Thank you so much. You have a lot to offer, not only to the members of your club, but also the non-club members. And I think that's one of the beauty of the niche clubs, because at least for me, coming from a consulting background, hearing about medtech, all of the alternative energies, it was really eye-opening. But I think, what do you think are the biggest things that the niche MBA clubs offer to MBAs that have different kinds of backgrounds?
Yeah, thanks, Andrea. So I think so people do MBAs for, they have different goals, right? Like why they want to pursue an MBA. And I think one of the goals commonly observed in a lot of people who want to pursue an MBA is to explore what's out there, and explore avenues, explore industries, explore functions. So I think niche clubs are a great way to sort of get a taste of what it is, what it is like to learn about a specific industry. So NUS has I would say two niche clubs, in the sense that we have two clubs that focus on industry verticals such as energy and healthcare. And I think being a part of niche club really gives that overview as to what this industry is really about. And then the other thing is you get to meet with like-minded group of people. Usually niche clubs are a lot smaller in size, and the events are really intimate, and you get to establish that bond between people who all are aspiring to work in that particular industry. So it helps you form those connections, because MBA batches can be big, right? And it can sometimes be daunting to make your way around. So yeah, so I would say that these are some of the things that niche clubs offer. And yeah, the other thing that for us, what we focused on was basically collaborating across various different functional clubs, right? Because so you can have a specific event for healthcare marketing, for example. You can have health tech event, so which is a combination of healthcare and technology. So we try to make that sort of combination as well, not just to sort of expose our members to the possibilities that and trends within the healthcare space, but also for other members of the other cohort, other members of the cohort to experience what healthcare club events are like, or what it is like to have healthcare as an industry. So I would say that's what a niche club has to offer.
Yeah, a lot of people trying to pivot into new industries. It's a great way to see it. But there's also some people that don't want to pivot, and they're actually doing these type of programs at part-time because they want to explore growing into their own workplaces. But Mosam, how do you ensure the participation of both full-timers or part-timers into the club events? Because at least for full-timers, if the classes are done, you're mostly free, and you just have to handle your responsibilities for the classes. But part-timers have their own mornings working and then the evenings studying. So how do you make these considerations to ensure that all of the members get this experience?
So I think, Andrea, that's a great question. It was one of the first things that we discussed as a council. And it's one of the things that I know the MBA programs office is also very focused on, is to ensure that the part-timers and full-timers both have the right kind of experience, exposure, and opportunities in the MBA. And we sort of resonate with that as a student body. And that's what we've aimed to do. One of the things that we've always ensured is that how we time our events. So we understand that part-timers could not just have work, but also family and other commitments. And how we kind of try to do this is we time our events in a way. We talk to a lot of our part-timers, we reach out to them, we understand their schedules in general. We try and plan, Saturday early morning events, so then they have the rest of the day there with their families. We try to have maybe an event in two parts, where one is catered to full-timers and one is catered to part-timers, where the part-timers is sort of a more high level, someone with more experience can sort of look at. And for the full-timers, it's a more beginners and intermediary level events that we would probably do. I think another thing that we've tried to undertake is feedback. So we reach out to these part-timers. We ask them if out of the 5 events that I've organized as the consulting club, how many could you actually fit into your schedule? If you tell me that all 5 weren't working for you, then I know I need to go back and do some thinking. So we did that. And if I got certain feedback, I would pass it on to other club leaders. So they knew that this timing just didn't work for them. The part-timers, a particular day wasn't comfortable. We made sure we had their class schedule. So I knew the part-timer schedules as well as the full-timer schedules by heart throughout my tenure. And that was in my calendar fit, so that I knew I couldn't do an event at a particular time. So that's something that we're very focused on. And as the number of part-timers in our program mix grow, I think it becomes more and more important for us to keep this in mind, and going forward also ensure that they have, if not more, at least equal opportunities as the full-timers do.
Thank you, Masam. Continuing with you, people are really excited that the consulting club has this open door policy to all of the outsiders with no prior consulting experience. But do you have any idea on how this is outside into the top tier consulting industry in Singapore? How are they open to these niche non-consulting backgrounds?
So I think what usually happens is that for someone like me, I come with a consulting background. I am a generalist. I don't have, say, like, Avik has a healthcare background, or Tao has an energy background. Today, if Avik or Tao want to get into consulting, they would probably be more popular than I would. And why is that? Because they bring in something that we call is they're subject matter experts. So for instance, in Singapore, oil and gas and energy is very, very big. Healthcare is very big. So a lot of consulting firms are actually looking at hiring these subject matter experts who can leverage the experience that they bring in from their previous jobs in the industry into consulting and for their clients. So obviously that doesn't mean that you can wake up one day and decide I'm going to join consulting, right? For each of us, there's work to be done. So for anyone who's looking at pivoting, I would say play by your strengths and your expertise in terms of, say, energy, tech, marketing, healthcare, whatever field that you're coming in from. Second, develop the additional skill sets that you would need in terms of your people skills, your presentation skills, your case cracking skills. That's something, even though I come from a background, I've been practicing cases every week, even today. If you put these two together, there is no way a good consulting company won't hire you. To name a few, which are very, very popular with amongst the NUS MBA, our Arthur D. Little, we have a lot of our alums in Arthur D. Little, Simon Kucher, as well as Allianz Consulting, St. Paul's Consulting, PwC, and Strategy and EY, and more. Like, I could go on and on with the list, but it's pretty much Singapore as your oyster in that sense. And even outside, just because you're studying in NUS doesn't mean you'd only be able to work here. You can explore other Asian countries, as well as Europe and the US. So I don't think anyone who comes from an industry has a disadvantage. I would rather say they have an upper hand as compared to a generalist like me.
Thank you so much, Monsan. Going into networking land. Tao, what about the networking opportunities with alumni and professionals? Are they quite open to participate into the club activities, or have you faced any challenges while trying to get speakers for the events?
Not really at NUS MBA, because like Mosa mentioned that energy club or oil and gas is a big industry also in Singapore, and we have lots of alumni who after the NUS MBA they heading toward the energy industry. For example, like our previous energy club, right now she is working as a product manager in the energy company. And also we have the person like who work in the Ecolabs, which is the kind of the incubator for energy startup also. And I met a lot of people also during the NUS MBA. So I think our network is very big. And when we mentioned that, okay, right now I'm the student at the NUS, could you help me, on this topic, blah, blah, blah. They always welcome to help us. Like, NUS is a very strong brand and also a strong network among the alumni. So they are always like trying to help us. And sometimes they do not help by themselves, but they try to ask other people also in their network to join in our event also. So that's kind of, I think network effect is very big here. And I think if as a club leaders, if you already have the clear direction of what kind of event or what kind of activity that you want them to help, they're always there. And again, I think for us, we have the BIS alum also who will connect us with the pool of alumni. So I think that is very, I would say the ecosystem is very helpful also. Yeah.
Yeah, and even outside, when you finish your MBA journey, it's not done at all. You have seen many alumni coming into the classrooms to all of the events. And there's also several startups that have participated, several alumni that are related to these startups. So Avik, people online are really excited about the previous engagements that you have had with startups. And also they want to ask if there's any specific time that you have to join the MBA club ecosystem, or how early can you join it?
So, so in terms of first, I'll just take your first question first. So, which is about the startups, right? So, for Healthcare Club, we have engaged startups such as Dr. Anywhere, for example. I'm sure, so they're very big now. So I'm sure you might have heard if you're a little bit savvy with the health tech space. So, so we had the CEO, Wyman Lim, from there to share his thoughts in one of our panels. In addition, we have engaged GRIP, which is the Graduate Innovation Research Program, which is tied to NUS Enterprise, an incubator that, sort of like works with several early stage pre-seed sort of startup to help them commercialize their product. So one of the things that we try to focus on is not just to bring like the massive industry players, like the medical device or pharma giants, etc., but also like early stage startups, medtech mostly, who are trying to commercialize. And in fact, just recently, we started engaging the Faculty of Engineering. So, with their graduate research program as well. So our current club leaders, they are engaging with them to sort of organize and invite our club members to their events as well, where they're showcasing the latest technology. So I think, to your note, yes, this is a very integral part of our sort of events that we want to bring to our members, and we will continue engaging with such startups in the future as well. And I think your second question, Andrea, was about the ecosystem, right? When can someone well, actually, there is no so as long as you are a part of the NUS MBA family, I think you're already in the ecosystem. So it's not really like a club per se, because it's all encompassing, even every one of us. So the whole concept of ecosystem just goes beyond, of course, club is the core part, but it goes beyond the club as well. Like it's meant to connect an individual, any member of the NUS MBA family to the past, to the future, with the different clubs, with the different faculties within NUS, with the different business schools outside. So yeah, so I think as long as you are part of the NUS MBA family, you are sure to be a part of this ecosystem. So there's not really like a start or end date as such. Yeah. Hope that
Yeah, but
answers.
something that does have start and end is all the case competitions that occur. So I'm seeing right now the Q&A, there's so many questions around the case competitions. Everybody's excited to participate in them. I'm already participating in some of them. And you see everyone in the cohort being excited about them. So starting with Tao, there's some people wanting to know about the energy case competitions, and which are they, and how have you been handling as a club?
Yes, I would say there are many case competition which has topics around the energy field also, especially I think it's about sustainability also, because right now, and also as a US MBA clubs, we have the SEI, the Sustainability Club also. So I think we have lots of the case competition. For example, I also participated in one case competition with K-Log about electric vehicles also, I think in the last semester. And also we have I think we have the annual collaboration between the with LBS also, London Business School, every year for the case competition in the energy field. And what else, I think, yeah, we have like at least 3 case competition in a year. And also last week we have the sustainability case competition also. So I think we can name a lot of it also. Yeah. So even though like the energy field is very niche, but I think it became like popular among the MBA, not only in US, but also in other business schools. And we as a club, we cater and also facilitate information about case competition to all the club members.
Yeah, and participating in them is not only the thrill to see if you win or not, there's the whole experience of teamwork and getting to put your team together, just getting to know which are the skills that you need in the team and the skills that you don't have and you need somebody else to have them. But it's also about the abilities you make during the whole experience. So, for example, in Mosam, I think you have been in some case competitions. Do you see any benefits in participating and maybe winning these case competitions apart from sharpening these casing abilities?
Yeah, I think if we just take my own case, I didn't know anything about the venture capital industry. I'm not much. I mean, I'd heard the words and they were all buzzwords for me. And I participated in one of the most popular and I would say toughest competitions that we have, which is the Venture Capital Investment Competition, VCIC. And I was up for 3 days, 24/7 working on this particular case. And I'd never had more fun. And I realized, I mean, I came with the idea that I came from consulting, I was going to go into consulting after, and that's it. I mean, I had that focus. But when I did this, it just, there was a light bulb in my head, and I said, this is something I need to look at. And now I'm interning with a VC fund. So the point of the story is that case competition is a great avenue to actually sandbox and test if there is something that you're interested in. It could be, a sustainability competition that combines your skills in, the sustainable space as well as consulting. It could be a very hardcore venture capital based case competition and more. So I think that's probably one, without taking very big risks. And I think the second is that I made some really great friends in this process. And most of us forget this aspect. When we talk about the MBA, well, yes, I do want to get a job. I do want to upskill. I do want to learn from my professors. But I've made some of the most amazing friends while I've been doing all of this. And those case competitions are a very big reason, because we're in one room for 3 days trying to work a very, very tough case that we have. And I think some of the best friendships are formed through that. And one of the things the school always asks us to do is make sure our teams are diverse. So I'm not just friends with the Indians in my batch. I'm friends with you. I'm friends with Tao. I'm friends with, people from all across the world that are there in the program. And I think that you can't really put, value or measure to. So aside from the skills, I think these are the two things that have been my key takeaways.
Yeah, and having talked about this whole role as the student leaders and participating in all of this, we also have some questions about what is the actual process that happened between you deciding to nominate yourself to be a student leader and actually being the student leader. So Tao, you want to take it?
Sorry, I couldn't catch the last bit, sorry.
Oh, which is the process from you deciding that you wanted to nominate yourself to be a student leader, and then the actual moment that you became the student leader? What happened in between?
So I would say when I first joined NUS MBA, I got inspired by the previous leader also, that she's very helpful along the process, that when we enter into the program, and also she demonstrated her leadership in many events. So that's how I got inspired. Also after talking to her, I saw that the club ecosystem provided us a lot of big network with the many people outside of the MBA program, and also it allowed me to transform myself into another level to improve my leadership. And that's how I got inspired and joy as a club leaders. And also when the moment that I decided, okay, I will run for the club leaders, and when I got into this position, as I said earlier, that is kind of the big commitment for me also, to keep the standard of the club leaders and try to deliver all the things that I promised with the cohort. I would say that in overall experience, it's very challenging. I have to balance lots of things for not only the club thing, but also academic and also my personal perspective. But overall, I think it's quite it's worthwhile of my own investment in the time and effort to be the club leaders.
Yeah, talking about these promises that each of the student leaders make, when they decide to nominate themselves to be part of the student council, they share with all the rest of the students their manifesto. So each of us went over every single manifesto to see what was their vision for the club, what kind of events they wanted to do, what kind of topics they wanted to touch upon in each of the events. So based on that, and after a face-off where they only had around 1 or 2 minutes to answer specific questions, all of us went into the platform, made our votes, and from there they were elected. That's the actual process on how this happened. So closing up a little already, I know there's so many questions coming in, but don't worry guys, there's more in the student sharing series, more clubs coming in. So do sign up for those ones in the future. I want to challenge the 3 panelists today, because you have been really descriptive about the whole experience, about all of the events, all of the participants. But I want to challenge you to, in only 3 words, how would you describe this transformational experience as a student leader? So starting with you, Abik.
Okay, so this is tough because there's so much that's happened, and like, so many, emotions, ups and downs, and thoroughly enjoyed each and every bit. So I would therefore say challenging yet rewarding. It's a little bit cheesy, but it sums up pretty much everything.
And not cheesy at all. Don't worry, we all get it. Tao, what about you?
For 3 words, I will go for first professor, our classmates, and also all the NUS staff. So I go with the theme, 3 words under the theme of the people, because I think along the NUS MBA program, I think people is the biggest factor for the transformation for myself. Every time I talk to my classmate, every time I meet the new professor or the people along the journey, I think they give me like the new perspective and challenge for me also to think in a new way. Because as you see today, like we have 4 people from three nationalities. So it's mean that we came from a different background, came from a different culture. So it's mean the way we think to the business problems or anything in the class is very totally different. And every time I talk to you guys, I feel like I learn the new things also. And also I can be the person who gives a new perspective and transform other people also. So in a nutshell, I think people is the most transformative factor for me.
Thank you so much, Tao. And finally, Mosam, nice and sweet. 3 words for your transformational experience.
I would just say pushing boundaries towards, and that's just, you'll only be rewarded if you try to do that, including, standing for either council elections, attending case competitions, making new friends, as long as you're pushing boundaries. So
Yeah, and you have pushed them. I have seen you all the way. Thank you so much, everyone.